Languages of the world. The following languages are listed as having at least 50 million first language speakers in the 26th edition of Ethnologue, published in 2023.
How many languages are spoken in your home?
Three.
Three. What are they?
English, Spanish, and French.
Ethnologue
what
identifies
language
these
do you
macro languages as Arabic, Landa, Persian, Malay, Pashto, and Chinese. All such rankings should be used with caution because it is not possible to devise a coherent set of linguistic criteria for distinguishing languages in a dialect continuum. For example, a language is often defined as a set of mutually intelligible varieties, but independent national standard languages may be considered separate languages even though they are largely mutually intelligible, as in the case of Danish and Norwegian. Conversely, many commonly accepted languages, including German, Italian, and even English, encompass varieties that are not mutually intelligible. While Arabic is sometimes considered a single language centered on modern standard Arabic, other authors consider its mutually unintelligible varieties as separate languages. Similarly, Chinese is sometimes viewed as a single language because of a shared culture and common literary language. It is also common to describe various Chinese dialect groups such as Mandarin, Wu, and Yu as languages, even though each of these groups contains mainly mutually unintelligible varieties. There are also difficulties in obtaining reliable counts of speakers, which vary over time because of population change and language shift. In some areas, there is no reliable census data, the data is not current, or the census may not record languages spoken or record them ambiguously. Sometimes speaker populations are exaggerated for political reasons, or speakers of minority languages may be underreported in favor of a national language. In this context, what is the global language system? The global language system is the ingenious pattern of connections between language groups. Dutch sociologist Abram de Swaan developed this theory in 2001 in his book Words of the World, The Global Language System. According to him, the multilingual connections between language groups do not occur haphazardly, but on the contrary, they constitute a surprisingly strong and efficient network that ties together directly or indirectly to the 8 billion inhabitants of the earth. The global language system draws upon the world system theory to account for relationships between the world's languages and divides them into a hierarchy consisting of 4 levels, namely the peripheral, central, supercentral, and hypercentral languages. According to de Swaan, the global language system has been constantly evolving since the time period of early military agrarian regimes. Under these regimes, the rulers imposed their own language, and so the first central languages emerged, linking the peripheral languages of the agrarian communities via bilingual speakers to the language of the conquerors. Then was the formation of empires, which resulted in the next stage of integration of the world language system. Firstly, Latin emerged from Rome. Under the rule of the Roman Empire, which ruled an extensive group of states, the usage of Latin stretched along the Mediterranean coast, the southern half of Europe, and more sparsely to the north and then into the Germanic Celtic lands. Thus, Latin evolved to become a central language in Europe from 27 BC to 476 AD. Secondly, there was the widespread usage of pre-classical version of Han Chinese in contemporary China due to the unification of China in 221 BC by Qin Shi Huang. Thirdly, Sanskrit started to become widely spoken in South Asia from the widespread teaching of Hinduism and Buddhism in South Asian countries. Fourthly, the expansion of the Arabic Empire also led to the increased usage of Arabic as a language in the Afro-Eurasian landmass. Military conquest of preceding centuries generally determine the distribution of languages today. What are supercentral languages spread by land and sea? Land-bound languages spread via marching empires: German, Russian, Arabic, Hindi, Chinese, and Japanese. Languages like Bengali, Tamil, Italian, and Turkish too are less considered as land-bound languages. However, when the conquerors were defeated and were forced to move out of the territory, the spread of the languages receded. As a result, some of these languages are currently barely supercentral languages and are instead confined to their remaining state territories, as is evident from German, Russian, and Japanese. On the other hand, sea-bound languages spread by conquest overseas, English, French, Portuguese, and Spanish are some of them. Consequently, these languages became widespread in areas settled by European colonizers and relegated the indigenous people and their languages to peripheral positions. Besides, the world systems theory also allowed the global language system to expand further. It focuses on the existence of the core, semi-peripheral and peripheral nations. The core countries are the most economically powerful and the wealthiest countries. Besides, they also have a strong governmental system in the country which oversees the bureaucracies in the governmental departments. There is also prevalent existence of the bourgeois, and core nations have significant influence over the non-core, smaller nations. Historically, the core countries were found in northwestern Europe and include countries such as England, France and the Netherlands. They were dominant countries that had colonized many other nations from the early 15th century to the early 19th century. In 2023, the language spoken by many is the language widely used in the internet, as it comes home without barriers and offers knowledge to growing audience with just a click of a mouse. Thank you.